Now, 1A is reassigned. Move your seat, sir, or I'll have you removed now.
A. Black CEO, first class, JFK Gate, 17. She points to his seat. Not your seat, sir. Policy, phones lift. He checks the time, 8:05 a.m. calm. Which policy? Evidence? Why only me? She reaches for his pass, intercom pings. Passengers glance at each other, cameras rise. He makes one call. Ops, log 8 hours, 5 minutes, and 42 seconds. Pull the manifest for 1A, seat change log, PA recording. If needed, hold pushback. Countdown on screen, 0 hours, 5 minutes. He lowers the phone. Finish that sentence. The cabin stills. First class, JFK, gate 17. Boarding doors still open, jet bridge attached, the cabin lights on day mode. A black CEO sits in one. A, jacket buttoned, phone idle in his palm. The leather creaks once as he settles. Overhead, bins click shut one by one. A chime. The lead flight attendant stops at his armrest, finger hovering, voice crisp. Sir, this seat isn't available. Company policy. He looks up, calm. Which policy? No attitude. Just the question. Around him, phones lift half-an-inch passengers pretending to scroll, not quite hiding the camera lens. She gestures toward the aisle. We need you to relocate for a preferred passenger. We'll take care of you. The phrase lands hard, preferred passenger. Behind her, a blonde traveler waits in the aisle, eyes on 1A, hand on her tote. A junior attendant lingers a step back, unsure, watching the scanner on the galley wall flash standby red. He checks the time. 8:05 a.m., the aircraft should be 5 minutes from pushback. The welcome beverage tray disappears into the galley. He keeps his voice level. Evidence? Why only me? 3 beats. Evenly spaced policy. Evidence? Targeting like entering a passcode. She leans in, tone firm. Sir, if you don't move, I'll have to call security. The cabin air shifts. Someone 2 rows behind mutters, just let the man sit. Another passenger pretends to cough while nudging his camera toward the aisle. The intercom pings, the PA stays silent. The CEO doesn't argue. He dials. Ops, log 8 hours, 5 minutes, and 42 seconds. Pull the first class manifest. Seat change log for 1A. I need the PA recording enabled. His eyes remain on the attendant the whole time, not breaking contact. To the phone, softer. If needed, hold pushback. I'll authorize the delay. He doesn't raise his voice. He raises the standard. The supervisor arrives from the galley with a tablet. Sir, I'm the purser. There's been a reassignment. She taps the screen, posture squared. The junior attendant name tag Elena hesitates, then speaks just loud enough. Manifest still shows 1 occupied by him. Her thumb brushes the badge reader. It blinks red again. The device supplies a fact no one can out-talk. Thank you, Elena, the CEO says, as if taking witness testimony. Back to the purser. Show me the written authority for a reassignment after boarding. Policy code, revision, date. His words are clean, like toggles. He's not making a scene. He's building a record. The lead attendant exhales, impatience leaking through. Sir, people like. He lifts a hand, palm down. Finish that sentence. Silence. The cabin hears the sentence die before it's born. On screen for viewers, count down 0.5 He taps his phone once. Oops. Add note. Verbal justification absent. Request compliance on channel 3. Confirm we're at JFK. Gate 17. Tail number ending 7-6. The details snap into place like seatbelts. This is not a vibe. It's evidence. The purser checks the tablet again. Suddenly, careful. We can offer you 3 cc extra spaced. He shakes his head. Not bargaining. Standards. His eyes move to the camera the aisle passenger is pretending not to hold. Keep rolling, he says, neutral. The aisle passenger nods, emboldened. 2 more phones rise. The social mirror tilts toward the truth. From the forward galley speaker, a crisp voice cuts in operations. Hold boarding. Verify manifest. Do not reassign first-class seats without written authorization filed. Cabin crew, acknowledge. The lead attendant's smile freezes. She taps her earpiece, then the tablet, then nothing. Her tools are out of arguments. Sir, she tries again. Lighter? We're just following procedure. So am I, he says. Log everything. The junior attendant glances at him, then at the tablet, then back. He's correctly seated. It's small, but it's the first on-system confirmation. He gives her the briefest nod, the kind you'd miss if you blinked. Witness secured. The jet bridge shudders as someone steps back into the tunnel. A ground agent peers in, headset crooked, eyes searching for the center of gravity in the room. He finds it in 1A. The CEO's phone glows. An incoming call from corporate ops. He answers with 3 words, "I'm here to live." In Bice. For viewers, the picture is set. A black CEO in 1A, a policy that can't cite itself, a cabin full of low phones and high attention, and a clock now at 0 hours, 3 minutes, and 27 seconds. No shouting. No threats. Only the weight of process tightening around whoever tried to loosen it. Countdown 21, 3, 25. The purser forces a smile that doesn't hold. Operations just needs a moment. For weight distribution, we're reseating rows 1 and 2. He glances at the empty 2A and 2D. Weight and balance is a dispatch function. If it's real, your tablet shows a load sheet revision number. Read it? She doesn't. The lead attendant pivots. "Security will escort you to 3C." He answers the phone instead. Ops add note. Crew cited weight distribution without load sheet ID. Request tail log. His tone stays even. He isn't fighting her. He's training the lens. Elena clears her throat. "Captain hasn't requested a balance change." Her badge reader blinks red again when she tries to push a seat override. On the tablet, a gray banner flashes. Reassigned to need, reason no authorization. The denial beep cuts through the aisle clean, metallic, unmistakable. 2 passengers trade looks. A man in 1D murmurs, "I fly every week." That beep means no. The chorus begins. The intercom chirps and the captain's voice arrives. Measured, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're holding a few minutes before push. Appreciate your patience." He doesn't mention seats. He doesn't have to. The cabin already knows what the story is. The lead attendant tries a softer track. "Sir, we value your business." He nods once. Then, "Value your record keeping." Who keyed the reassignment request? She stalls. "It's, automatic." Nothing is automatic that targets one person. He says, "Neutral. Name and timestamp, please." Countdown, Milan, Theo, Sardiema. Ops returns in his ear. Seat change log shows an override attempt by S. Park Lead. No dock attached. Compliance is on the bridge. He keeps his gaze on the aisle. Copy. Add no document attached. Pull the PA buffer. The purser loses patience. "Sir, you can complain later. Right now you need to stand." Her hand moves toward his boarding pass, then stops when 3 phones rise fully. The cabin's attention is an invisible rail she can feel but not hold. He turns his phone screen outward just enough for the nearest camera to catch it. 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 11 seconds. JFK, Gate 17, Tail 76, Case ID 1A. No theatrics, just receipts. Elena steps forward, voice steady now. The manifest still shows him in 1A. Our system won't let me displace him. Her eyes flick to the lead. It's not defiance, it's accuracy. "Thank you," he says. "Please note your statement on the incident log." She nods, tapping the tablet with careful precision. A ground supervisor appears at the front, headset dangling, cheeks flushed from the ramp air. "What's the delay?" he asks the purser. She points to the CEO. "Non-compliant passenger. I need a rest." The supervisor checks the tablet, frowns at the red banner. Who approved the override? Silence. The aisle absorbs it. Countdown Bina, Milanon, 9 Pendavert. The lead attendant tries one more angle, voice dropping. "There's a VIP who prefers this seat." "Preferences aren't policy," he says. "Show me the clause." He keeps the word short, the cadence surgical. When she doesn't answer, he adds, "Oops, add note, seat reassignment, cited as VIP preference, request policy citation." From the jet bridge, another figure steps in, station, manager, blazer, clipboard, a radio set with fresh batteries and the kind of walk used when regulators might be listening. She scans the cabin, clocks the cameras, and switches to her professional voice. "Good morning, I'm Melissa." "We're going to sort this out." She looks to the purser. "Did you file the reassignment authorization?" "No, but I ought." "Then you can't move him." Melissa doesn't raise volume, she raises clarity. The lead attendant colors. "Are we just going to let him?" Melissa lifts a palm. "We're going to follow the procedure. Captain's holding. Ops and compliance are on." She turns to the CEO. "Sir, please remain seated in 1. While we review." He nods, "Thank you." For the record, request CCTV at the jet bridge, audio on intercom, and the kiosk logs where my boarding pass was scanned. Logged. Melissa says, a little surprised he knows the inventory of proof better than her junior staff. Countdown, million N, million X Nellion. The blonde traveler in the aisle who has been patient, quiet, watching finally speaks. I was told I'd be upgraded to 1A. By whom? He asks. She glances at the lead attendant, then away. I don't know her name. Melissa writes that down. Upgrades are handled by the system, not verbal promises after boarding. The cabin exhales. Truth is, oxygen. The purser tries to salvage face. We're simply ensuring comfort for all. He looks at the lens again, then back to her. Comfort without standards is chaos. A beat. Ops, add that quote. A few chuckles ripple not mocking. Just relief at a sentence that lands. The captain pings the intercom. Melissa takes it. Captain, station, we have a documented irregularity. Recommend displacing involved crew from this flight and assigning reserves. Passenger remains in 1A. Her language is a scalpel. She's cutting away the infection before pushback. Countdown 0.11, 0.1. Ops comes back, voice firmer. Compliance recommends immediate removal of lead and purser from duty pending review. Confirm. Confirmed. Dispatch reserves to gate 17. Notify scheduling. The lead attendant's posture collapses a centimeter. You can't sit. Stand by. Melissa says, already signaling to a ramp agent. The ground supervisor unclips 2 crew lanyards, collecting them like checked bags. He sets his phone down. Screen off at last. Please add one more note, he says to Ops. Thank Elena for speaking on system. Countdown V1, V1, 56. In 5 minutes, he never raised his voice. He didn't swing, he swung the process. The cabin understands the difference, and so does the system that's about to replace an entire shift. Countdown. No. The clock burns out at 0. The jet bridge is still on. Door 1 leader is still open. The room belongs to the process now. Melissa, the station manager, takes a breath and keys her radio. Ops, station. Crew displacement, approved. Compliance on channel, a click. A new voice arrives. Steady and legal. Compliance here. This line is recorded. The lead attendant stiffens. Recorded for what? For accuracy. Compliance says, please state your name and role. Wide boast. She hesitates, then gives it. The purser follows, subdued. The CEO doesn't look at them. He looks at the proof. Oops, confirm. Seat 1A, assigned to my ticket at T24, scanned at kiosk, verified at gate, confirmed. Kiosk scan at 7 hours, 31 minutes and 8 seconds. Gate scan at 7 hours, 50 minutes and 19 seconds. No lawful reassignment on record. He nods once. Add. Override attempt at 8-6 flag, denied. Initiator identified as lead. No document attached. The captain chimes in on the interphone. Station, flight deck. We've logged an irregularity. Standing by for crew change. Copy, Melissa answers. Reserves en route. She turns to the aisle, voice professional and cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We're finalizing staffing. Compliance again. Lead. Why was the passenger instructed to move? VIP preference, she says, too fast. Cite policy number. Silence. The cabin hears the paper that doesn't exist. The CEO rotates his phone an inch so the nearest lens can see. Case ID 1A JFK Gate 17 8 hours 8 minutes and 29 seconds. No flourish, just the ledger. Elena steps closer to Melissa. I'd like to enter a statement on system. Manifest showed him correctly seated and the override returned denied. Thank you. Melissa says logged the word lands like a stamp. Compliance. Station. Remove lead and purser from this pairing pending review. Collect badges. The ground supervisor steps forward. 2 lanyards unclasp with small metallic size. The purser swallows. The lead tries one last angle. You can't do this on a customer's word. Compliance doesn't blink. We're not. We're doing it for you. The system captured your attempt. The blonde traveler shrinks a little in the aisle. I didn't ask for any of this. The CEO's voice is neutral. You were promised what the policy can't give. No glare, just a line that files itself. Corporate legal joining. Another click. A new register. Legal here. We've reviewed the seat change and PA logs. Sir, thank you for staying seated. He answers with 7 plain words. I'm here for standards, not theater. Melissa tilts her head. She understands who he is without needing the LinkedIn headline. Still, legal asks it for the record. For identification, sir? He obliges. Minimal. Name. Company. Scope. Not a boast and anchor. The cabin doesn't gasp. It exhales. The shape of the conflict clarifies. Legal continues. Station, per handbook 7.3, misrepresentation of policy and attempted displacement after boarding constitute gross misconduct. Proceed with termination for lead. Purser subject to termination pending final HR review. Document that this action is based on on-system evidence, not passenger testimony. Melissa understood. Executing. She doesn't look triumphant. She looks relieved. The lead attendant's cheeks flush over a seat. The CEO doesn't rise over a standard. He taps the edge of his phone. Oops, add. Announce recert for this base. Spot audit seat reassignment training this week. The captain again. We have a reserve crew at the door. Open, Melissa says. The jet bridge breathes. 2 reserves step in fresh uniforms, steady eyes, no commentary. They sign the tablet. The cabin notes the difference. Competence is quiet. One more item. Freeze discretionary upgrade budgets at this station pending audit. Prevent incentives from rewarding policy pretexts. Logged, freeze, in effect. The CEO gives the smallest nod. He didn't ask for a public spectacle. He asked for a paper trail sturdy enough to hold weight. He turns to Elena. You spoke on system. That matters. She nods, cautious. It's my job. It's the standard, he says. Ops, flag her for commendation and purser in training review. Logged. Melissa addresses the cabin. We'll depart shortly. Thank you for your patience and your professionalism. She doesn't say sorry for the inconvenience. She says what the day needs. That process works. The lead and purser step onto the jet bridge, badges in the supervisor's hand. The door closes behind them with a sound the camera microphones will love. Not a slam, a seal. Legal signs off. Thank you, station. Thank you, sir. He ends the call with 3 words he keeps for moments like this. Terminate, freeze, log. There'll be more swind. Outside, the tug driver gives a thumbs up through the window. Inside, the aisle clears. He sets his phone face down, eyes on nothing, voice for nobody in particular. Finish the checklists. No victory lap, no crowing. Just standards restored in the quiet before pushback. Door 1 leader is still open. The interphone is quiet. The process has the floor. Melissa nods to the reserves. Welcome aboard. They sign in on the tablet digital initials, timestamp 8:12 a.m., and slide into position like they've rehearsed it 100 times. No chatter. The forward reserve glances at 1A, gives a respectful, neutral nod, then checks the galley equipment list. Competence registers as silence. Station, ops. The radio cracks softly. The crew changed completely. Compliance and legal, clear. Copy Melissa answers. Begin closeout. She faces the aisle, voice steady. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We've corrected a staffing issue. We'll be on our way shortly. She chooses each word the way a surgeon chooses an instrument. No blame, no performance, just the reason they can all agree on, correction. The blonde traveler who'd been promised 1A is now in 3C with a calm reserve helping her stow the tote. She avoids eye contact with the cameras, and that's merciful. The story doesn't need a villain in a passenger, it already has a villain in a fake policy. The lead and purser are gone. In their place, a printout slides from the cabin printer in the galley, seat manifest, first class final, with a signature line for the captain. Elena watches the page feed out and exhales. She initials the incident log entry she made earlier. Manifest verified, override denied, passenger correctly seated in 1A. The pen leaves a faint groove across the paper, the weight of a small truth made official. The CEO hasn't moved. Phone face down, shoulders square. He doesn't look satisfied, he looks finished. Ops, he says quietly into the mic. Append to case. Initiate base-wide refresher on seat policy. 72-hour window. Acknowledgements on file. Logged. Ops replies. Training, push scheduled. He turns slightly to Elena. You kept the record. That's how standards survive. She nods, a little color in her face. Thank you, sir. Ops, flag Elena for commendation and purser in training consideration. Logged. Also, Melissa approaches, clipboard tucked under an arm. The other hand, free. For the record, sir, we've frozen discretionary upgrade budgets here until the audit finishes. HR will brief me at noon. Good! He says budget follows behavior. It's around mental. The captain steps out near the bulkhead, hat under his arm. He's not here to make a speech, only to sign the manifest and align the team. Flight attendants, he says softly over the interphone, arm doors and cross-check. The forward reserve answers cross-check, voice clear and arms 1 liter. The mechanical thunk of the girt bar finds its latch. Cameras lower a little, even spectators respect checklists. Melissa keys the PA. Cabin crew prepare for door closure. Then to the CEO, lower. Would you like me to brief the cabin about the audit? He shakes his head. They don't need our paperwork. They need our punctuality. Copy, she means it. Door 1 liter closes with a seal, not a slam. Jet bridge retracts, metal hum, a gap of daylight. Pushback crew gives the thumbs up. The aircraft becomes its own jurisdiction. The captain returns to the flight deck. A new sound cuts softly through the front galley, a message chirp from ops to Melissa's tablet, Case 1A, action summary. She reads it, then meets the CEO's eyes. Terminate, freeze, log, she says, like a checklist. He nods. That's the work. Before she turns away, he adds 1 line for the ledger. Attach a screenshot of 7, 3 to the case. The line about misrepresentation of policy. Already in, she replies, a hint of pride. Seatbelts click, overhead bins shut for real this time, 2 beats, then a third. The forward reserve does a discreet walkthrough of row 1, not to police, but to signal order restored. When she reaches 1A, she simply says, anything you need before departure, sir? Just standards. He answers. It's not a quip, it's inventory. The aisle passenger who filmed lowers his phone and clears his throat. For what it's worth, thanks. He doesn't turn. For what it's worth, keep the video. Sometimes memory needs help. Melissa makes 1 final call to ops. Station to ops, gate 17 clear, delay coded to staffing correction, departure in 2, copy. Case closed for gate phase, flight phase logging begins. The aircraft nudges back. The cabin tilts with the push, that small shifting reminder that gravity and procedure have an understanding. The CEO watches the ceiling panel where the seatbelt sign glows, not as a passenger, not as an owner, but as a person who prefers systems that keep their promises. 8 minutes ago, someone tried to move a man with a story. They found out the story had logs. Taxi begins. The cabin hum changes pitch. The PA clicks. Flight attendants, please be seated for takeoff. Checklists move like a zipper. No extra commentary. Order is its own comfort. At 10,000 feet, the chime sounds. Wi-Fi wakes, he flips his phone screen, opens mail, and types 3 lines with subject headers that carry more weight than volume. Subject, Case 1A, action summary. Terminate lead. Purser, pending termination after HR review. Freeze discretionary upgrade budgets at JFK until audit complete. Log retention, PA buffer, kiosk scans, gate CCTV, jet bridge cam. Subject, training order seat reassignment protocol. Base, JFK, 72 hours. Mandatory recert for all cabin, ground leads. Required, load sheet literacy. Cite policy code before any displacement after boarding. Add quiz item, VIP preference, policy. He CCs ops, compliance, station. Quality counsel, no flourish. Send. Across the aisle, a weekly business traveler leans over, gentle. I've seen a lot of theater, not a lot of standards. He nods. Standards are cheaper in the long run. That's not a slogan, that's a profit and loss. A soft ping. Ops replies with a bullet that matters. Portal patch in progress. Kiosk gate now prompt. Reason code plus dock attachment required for any seat override. If blank, the system denies and flags. He replies, good. Add language screen. Preferences aren't policy. He drafts a 3rd note. Subject, metrics to watch. Count of attempted post-boarding reassignments, baseline versus post-patch. Percent with attached documentation. Complaints tagged weight distribution with missing load sheet IDs. NPS delta for first class at JFK. Commendations for on-system confirmations. For example, Elena, send. The forward reserve pauses at 1A, checks quietly, water, anything else? Minutes later, he says, make sure Elena gets a seat to write her statement cleanly. No pressure. Done. She means it. Seatbelt sign dings off. A slow movement begins. People stand, then think better of it, then sit. Cameras get put away. The story already has what it needs. timestamps and decisions. He opens notes, writes a single sentence that will outlive the video. Comfort without standards is chaos. He tags it policy, language, cabin. Words, when they become clauses, become railings. Mail again. One final message. Subject, external, service standards partnership. Connect with Service Quality Institute, build a 4-module micro course, policy versus preference, evidence on system. De-escalation without displacement. Crowd as mirror phones, threat, phones equals audit assist. Pilot at JFK, then roll nationwide. Send. From the back galley, Elena steps forward with the incident tablet. She stops at row 2, looks to him for permission like a good witness. He nods. Take the row end, he says. Write what you saw, not what you felt. Time, device, denial, beep, manifest, status. She smiles, small. I can do that. I know, he says. You already did. Another ping from ops. HR at noon, lead terminated per 7.3, purser final review, 3 p.m. training, memo drafted, budget freeze confirmed, portal patch active. He replies with 4 words, attach 7.3 screenshot first. Put the rule before the rumor. The blonde traveler in 3C catches his eye, apologetic, without theatrics. I didn't want trouble. I know, he says, flat but kind. You wanted a seat, someone promised without authority. She nods. That distinction lands. It will be useful for someone else someday. He pulls up calendar, drops an invite titled JFK Base, post-audit debrief, 15 minutes, day +7, attendees, station, ops, compliance, HR, training, 2 line reps, agenda in the body, findings facts only, fixes software plus training, recognition, Elena, ground supervisor, recurrences, how we'll know early, budget unfreeze criteria, send. He opens camera roll not to post, but to store. A still frame of the tablet when Ryzen 9 flashed. A still of the clock at 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 11 seconds. A still of the intercom icon, not cinema, evidence. The captain's voice, calm. Flight attendants, prepare for landing. Time compresses, work expands. On descent, his inbox stacks with confirmations, legal attached 7.3, compliance scheduled spot audits, IT shipped the prompt for reason code plus document. He marks them red. Standards aren't dramatic when they function, they're invisible. Touchdown, rollout, taxi, door 1 leader opens at arrival. No speeches at the gate, no victory lap. Melissa's update arrives anyway. Elena commendation filed, purser and training review scheduled. He replies with the line that will appear on her letter. You spoke on system when it counted. On the curb, a car. He doesn't look back at the aircraft. He doesn't need to. Systems either remember or they don't. Today, they will. He says it once, to nobody and to everybody. Log everything. Then he puts the phone away. Next morning, 9 a.m. JFK base training room. Fluorescence steady, projector awake. No speeches on the wall, just a login screen that says Case 1A. Melissa opens the session. This is a standards review. She says, not town hall. Fewer adjectives, more artifacts. She taps the laptop. The projector throws up the first slide. Seat change log, flight, gate 17, 1A. A red banner freezes in 12-inch letters. Resign denied. Reason, no authorization. Under it, a line item. 8 hours, 6 minutes, and 13 seconds. Attempted override user, S. Park, lead. No groans, no gasps. Just the sound of chairs accepting gravity. Slide 2, kiosk and gate scans. Timestamps sit like rivets. 7 hours, 31 minutes, and 8 seconds. 7 hours, 50 minutes, and 19 seconds. Verified 1A. Slide 3, PA buffer extract. A waveform and a transcript snippet showing the exact moment the intercom pinged and nothing lawful followed. Each slide swaps opinion for evidence. The CEO is in the second row, off to the side, a notebook closed, pen capped. He hasn't come to perform leadership. He's here to make sure it exists. Melissa nods in his direction, acknowledgement, not introduction. Compliance takes the mic. Handbook 7.3. Misrepresentation of policy and attempted displacement after boarding constitute gross misconduct. On screen, the clause appears with a yellow highlight. Outcome lead terminated. Purser terminated. Effective yesterday 3 p.m. No triumph, just ledger entries. IT steps up with one slide that matters more than 1,000 memos. Portal patch. A screenshot of the gate, cabin interface now forces a reason code dropdown and a document attachment field for any seat override. Without both, the button grays out. A small box in the corner reads, "Preferences aren't policy." It's not a slogan, it's a guardrail. HR speaks 4 lines. Budget freeze stays until audit completes. Training is mandatory within 72 hours. Absences reassignable. EAP support available. Aftercare is not pity. It's architecture that prevents the same roof from falling again. The board's ethics auditor joins via video tile. Standards are only visible when they're broken, she says. Today, we make them visible when they work. She asks 4 Socratic questions, all nouns and verbs. Policy number, revision date, sign-off owner, exception, audit trail. People write them down because they are the inventory of future days. Melissa advances to training order base JFK. Bullet points, not adjectives. Load sheet literacy, identify revision number. No post-boarding displacement without written authority. Captain request required for weight and balance, dispatch confirmation logged. Spot checks weekly, surprise audits monthly. Captures of denial beeps included in incident logs. Then the small correction that changes a culture, commendations. Elena is called to the front, no music, no confetti. Melissa holds a single-page letter. You spoke on system when it counted. Beneath it, another line. Purser in training track. Start date, pending schedule, approved. Elena's hands shake, only once, when she signs the acknowledgement. A camera from internal comms takes one still, no filters, just a timestamp. The CEO finally speaks, 12 words. Thank you for respecting the process under pressure. That's how we stay safe. He turns to the screen. Add one more change, he says, and the room leans in. JetBridge, CCTV, and intercom buffers. Retention from 90 days to 12 months at audit stations. IT nods. Compliance writes it down. Melissa marks it adopted. An agent in the back raises a hand. What about passengers being told VIP prefers that seat? The CEO answers with the same cadence he used at 1A. Preferences aren't policy. If you hear that phrase, ask for the policy number and the document. If there isn't one, you don't act. You log. Phones vibrate across the room. Push notification training window. Open 72 hours. Another ping follows almost on Beat Quality Council Digest. Case 1A summary 7.3 screenshot attached. The information doesn't trickle. It lands everywhere at once. Melissa closes with the only 3 words that survive yesterday intact. She points to the corner of the slide where they now live as buttons in the station portal. Terminate, freeze, log. They're not punishments, she says. They're tools. Use them when the facts ask you to. The CEO caps his pen, stands, and leaves without escort. On the hallway wall, someone from facilities is stenciling a sentence in clean block type, the one he wrote at 10,000 feet. Comfort without standards is chaos. It looks less like a slogan and more like a checklist item that finally found a wall. Outside, the terminal sounds like itself again. Rolls of luggage, boarding calls, gate chimes. Inside, the receipts stay where they belong. On system, time-stamped, and ready to be what they were always supposed to be. Memory that doesn't fade when a story would rather it did. Next morning, 9 a.m., JFK-based training room, fluorescent steady, projector awake. No speeches on the wall, just a login screen that says Case 1A. Melissa opens the session. This is a standards review, she says, not town hall. Fewer adjectives, more artifacts. She taps the laptop. The projector throws up the first slide. Seat change log flight. Gate 17, 1A. A red banner freezes in 12-inch letters. Reassign denied. Reason no authorization. Under it, a line item. 8 hours, 6 minutes, and 13 seconds. Attempted override user S Park lead. No groans, no gasps, just the sound of chairs accepting gravity. Slide 2, kiosk and gate scans. Timestamps sit like rivets. 7 hours, 31 minutes, and 8 seconds. 7 hours, 50 minutes, and 19 seconds. Verified 1A. Slide 3, PA buffer extract. A waveform and a transcript snippet showing the exact moment the intercom pinged and nothing lawful followed. Each slide swaps opinion for evidence. The CEO is in the second row off to the side. A notebook closed, pen capped. He hasn't come to perform leadership. He's here to make sure it exists. Melissa nods in his direction. Acknowledgement, not introduction. Compliance takes the mic. Handbook 7. Misrepresentation of policy and attempted displacement after boarding constitute gross misconduct. On screen, the clause appears with a yellow highlight. Outcome: lead terminated. Purser terminated, effective yesterday. 3 p.m., no triumph. Just ledger entries. IT steps up with one slide that matters more than 1,000 memos. Portal patch. A screenshot of the gate. Cabin interface now forces a reason code dropdown and a document attachment field for any seat override. Without both, the button grays out. A small box in the corner reads, "Preferences aren't policy. It's not a slogan, it's a guardrail." HR speaks 4 lines. Budget freeze stays until audit completes. Training is mandatory within 72 hours. Absences reassignable. EAP support available. Aftercare is not pity, it's architecture that prevents the same roof from falling again. The board's ethics auditor joins via video tile. Standards are only visible when they're broken, she says. Today, we make them visible when they work. She asks 4 Socratic questions, all nouns and verbs, policy number, revision date, sign-off owner, exception audit trail. People write them down because they are the inventory of future days. Melissa advances to training order-based JFK. Bullet points, not adjectives. Load sheet literacy. Identify revision numbers. No post-boarding displacement without written authority. Captain request required for weight and balance. Dispatch confirmation logged. Spot checks weekly. Surprise audits monthly. Captures of denial beeps included in incident logs. Then the small correction that changes a culture. Commendations. Elena is called to the front. No music, no confetti. Melissa holds a single-page letter. You spoke on system when it counted. Beneath it, another line. Purser in training track, start date, pending schedule, approved. Elena's hands shake. Only once, when she signs the acknowledgement. A camera from internal comms takes one. Still no filters, just a timestamp. The CEO finally speaks. 12 words. Thank you for respecting the process under pressure. That's how we stay safe. He turns to the screen. Add one more change, he says, and the room leans in. Jet bridge, CCTV, and intercom buffers, retention from 90 days to 12 months at audit stations. IT nods, compliance writes it down, Melissa marks it adopted. So, an agent in the back raises a hand. What about passengers being told VIP prefers that seat? The CEO answers with the same cadence he used at 1A. Preferences aren't policy. If you hear that phrase, ask for the policy number and the document. If there isn't one, you don't act. You log. Phones vibrate across the room. Push notification. Training. Window. Open. 72 hours. Another ping follows, almost on beat quality Council Digest. Case 1, a summary. 7.3 screenshot attached. The information doesn't trickle. It lands everywhere at once. Melissa closes with the only 3 words that survived yesterday intact. She points to the corner of the slide where they now live as buttons in the station portal. Terminate. Freeze. Log. They're not punishments, she says. They're tools. Use them when the facts ask you to. The CEO caps his pen, stands, and leaves without escort. On the hallway wall, someone from facilities is stenciling a sentence in clean block type, the one he wrote at 10,000 feet. Comfort without standards is chaos. It looks less like a slogan and more like a checklist item that finally found a wall. Outside, the terminal sounds like itself again. Rolls of luggage, boarding calls, gate chimes. Inside, the receipts stay where they belong. On system, time-stamped, and ready to be what they were always supposed to be. Memory that doesn't fade when a story would rather it did. Day +7. Conference room at JFK base, glass walls, a single screen alive with a dashboard instead of a speech. Across the top, Case 1A, 7-day report. No sizzle reel, just numbers. First tile, big and blue, post-boarding seat override attempts, before decept per week AVG, last quarter. After patch, aim denied, missing document. A green check blinks beside the new gate divided by cabin prompt, reason code plus doc attachment equals required. The grayed out button from training is now a habit, not a slide. Second tile, overrides with documents attached. Before, 12%. After 100%, 1/1. It's not heroism. It's friction where temptation used to be. Third tile, NPS, first class JFK. Before 62, after 74. No champagne, just a line moving the right way because procedures did. Melissa runs the brief with the same economy she brought to gate 17. Budget freeze remains until criteria are met. She taps the list on screen. 0 unauthorized reassignments for train to days, 2 surprise audits passed, 100% training completion, signed, captains certify load sheet literacy for leads, compliance confirms terminations posted per 7, 3 with due process acknowledgments attached. HR's rep adds the line that matters to unions and to fairness. Records reflect conduct, not optics. The file cites logs. There's no appetite here for theater, only for paper. IT walks through the next ripple. JetBridge, CCTV, and intercom buffer retention, 12 months. A small checkbox shows active. Another shows a wider net. Lounge kiosks, integrated, same reason code, doc prompted upgrades desk. The system that once let a sentence start is now set up to finish it on record. A comms manager stands. External statement goes out at noon. 2 paragraphs on the slide. No names, no drama. We reaffirm seat assignment rules. Preferences aren't policy. We're publishing our 1-page seats and standards for customers today. A QR code lives in the corner, soon to be a sticker at every gate reader. The CEO sits 2 seats in. Notebook still closed. He reads the statement once and nods. Add the line, "We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans," then publish. The change lands. It isn't flair, it's a ruler. The Service Quality Institute joins by video. A short MOU appears on screen. 4-module microcourse, policy versus preference, evidence on system, de-escalation without displacement, crowd as audit mirror, pilot, JFK. Network. The CFO box in the corner reads, budget, reallocated from discretionary upgrades, a quiet arithmetic of values. Recognition is next. Elena steps forward, reluctant as ever. Internal comms rolls a 40-second clip, no slow music of her screen capture, when resign denied flashed and her voice saying, "The system won't let me displace him." That sentence, not a monologue, becomes training gold. Melissa hands her the letter, commendation and purser in training track. The CEO adds 3 words to the memo footer, spoke on system. A union rep clears his throat. We want coaching for code language detection. Preferred passenger got used as a policy. Agreed, the CEO says, build a micro drill called finish that sentence, teach crews to stop euphemism midair, make it 10 minutes mandatory. He doesn't smile, he doesn't need to. The room understands the design brief, intercept the lie before it finishes speaking. Comms flips to the public-facing one-pager. Seats and standards what you can expect. Your assigned seat won't be changed after boarding without a documented safety reason. You can ask for the policy number for any request. You can expect the crew to log, not argue. Cameras aren't a threat, they're a mirror. No brand of poetry, just footing. At 12 p.m., the statement is posted. A gate agent at 32B peels and sticks the QR decal onto the reader. Scan for seat policy. It looks like customer service. It functions like governance. Afternoon, quality council call. 3 other stations request the patch. 1 asks for the training deck. The CEO approves both with the phrase he uses when the math is obvious. Scale it. He ends the day with 2 notes. Subject, unfreeze criteria, reminder. Release budgets only when audits pass and training signs off. Subject, Elena mentorship pairing. Pair with a senior purser for 30 days. Schedule 2 observation flights. No victory lap. No press circuit. The only public sentence he leaves behind is printed on the new gate placard and already echoed in a dozen crew rooms. Preferences aren't policy. Log everything. Day plus 14. Afternoon rush, concourse B. A fresh decal lives on every reader. Scan for seat policy. The public one-pager sits beside the stanchion's QR code. 4 bullets, 0 poetry. Traffic moves like a river that learns where the rocks are. Gate 32B, flight to LAX. A supervisor leans into a new agent, voice low. We've got a VIP who prefers 2A. If someone's in it, just... The agent raises a hand, not defiant, trained. Finish that sentence, she taps the screen. The portal answers for both of them. Seat override, reason code, plus document attachment required. The button stays gray. The supervisor swallows a habit and picks a new one. Right. If there's a policy number, attach it. If not, we don't touch it. Null inder all have to have. At the rope, a traveler scans the QR and reads, your assigned seat won't be changed after boarding without a documented safety reason. Ask for the policy number. He nods, like someone who didn't know he could ask. 2 gates down. Elena walks a shadow shift and no fanfare, just a discreet pit line on her roster. Purser in training. She checks a galley manifest, then the reader light. Green. Her glance holds on the agent who said, "Finish that sentence," and she gives the smallest nod, the kind she received in 1A. In the mezzanine above, the CEO stands by a window with a coffee that's losing heat. Not hiding, not announcing. Watching lines move and rules hold. Melissa joins him with a slim folder. Audit, week 1, 100% training compliance. 2, surprise audits passed. 0 unauthorized reassignments. Unfreeze criteria, he says like a checklist item. We're at 2 of 4, she replies. The 3rd audit is tomorrow. Captain's sign-off load sheet literacy Friday. When the 4th is on file, he says, unfreeze, not before. Back at 32B, a small test arrives disguised as convenience. A frequent flyer smiles at the agent. Any chance I can slide into 1C? I know somebody in the crew. He says it lightly, the way doors used to open. Happy to check what the system allows? The agent answers. She taps. The portal prompts a policy citation. There isn't one. Looks like we can't after boarding without a safety reason. He chuckles. Worth a try. Always, she says, and adds a note to the shift log. Attempted verbal upgrade. No document. Denied by system. That sentence is about culture. A ramp radio crackles. Heads up, QA. Spot check at 32B and 5. No one stiffens. The agent prints a manifest. Elena checks emergency equipment. The supervisor flips open the handbook to 7. 3 encircles a line in yellow, like a student who means it. The CEO watches a father scan the QR with his kid, explains, soft, not performative, how rules keep everyone safe. It lands. He says nothing. The lesson belongs to the floor now. Comms pings Melissa's phone. Seats and standards page, 82K views, 2K QR scans today, bounce rate low. IT follows with quiet triumph. Lounge kiosks live, same prompt, active. A map lights 3 more stations requesting the patch. The captain for 32B steps to the podium. Folks, light delay while we finalize paperwork. He signs the manifest that has become a character in this story. Behind him, the agent leans to Elena. Your micro drill? 10 minutes, she says. We practice catching euphemism mid-air. The agent smiles. It worked. Melissa opens the folder. HR closeout. Lead terminated, purser terminated. EAP offered. The file cites logs only. She shows the page. No adjectives, just evidence. He nods. Good. Keep the file clean. A bleat from his phone quality counsel. Metrics tile in. Post-boarding overrides 0. Overrides with docs 100%. Training completion 100%. NPS bump holds. He replies with 2 words. Scale JFK. Network. At 3:12 p.m., the QA auditor steps to 32B. Reason code prompt. Active, the agent answers. She clicks into the flow. The grade button sits where temptation used to. Policy citation on hand. 7.3, the supervisor says, lifting the highlighted page. Crew trained? Completed. Denial beep captured in training sim. The auditor checks boxes. Pass. Melissa looks out at the floor. We built a handle people can hold. He sets the lukewarm coffee down. Handles beat speeches. Gate 32, B starts boarding. No special music to mark the moment, just scanners, chirping, bins closing, a rule doing its job. The agent pauses 1 beat as the blonde traveler from 2 weeks ago appears in line 3C on her app. Small smile, no ask. The agent scans her pass and says the 4 words that feel like a new rail. Enjoy your assigned seat. Upstairs, the CEO pockets his phone. No press release, no victory lap. A single Slack goes out to Ops, HR, IT station, unfreeze when the 4th box checks. Then publish the audit. He adds the footer that has outlasted 2 long weeks and 1 short flight. Preferences aren't policy. Terminate, freeze, log. Day, più 21. 8:30. M. Quality, counsel, call. 1 screen, no sizzle. Across the header, case, 1A, week 3, network status. Tiles breathe like instruments in a cockpit. Training completion. JFK 100% signed, quizzes filed, mirror stations BOS, ATL, 92%, 100% by Friday. A tiny check sits next to microcourse M1, policy versus preference, M2, M4, show live tags, evidence on system, de-escalation without displacement, crowd as audit mirror, seat override attempts, post-boarding. 0 week 3, network, tray, all denied. missing doc. Each entry has a link icon. Click. The denial screenshot with timestamps. A culture that used to whisper now attaches files. Load sheet literacy, captain sign-offs. 100% work. 84% captain's finishing line checks by Friday, 1700 ET. Melissa says it plainly. Fourth box goes green when the last signature hits. The CFO clears his throat as if to ask about budgets. The CEO saves him the sentence. Unfreeze comes after the last signature, not before. It isn't stern, it's arithmetic. Comms presents the Seats and Standards public page analytics. QR scans trend up at gates and lounges. Dwell time is long enough to prove people read. Social mentions are low, and that's good. Quiet is the point, the CEO says. Standards shouldn't trend, they should hold. It walks through the next patch. Customer app, seat policy card. When a boarding pass opens, a small I reveals the one-page policy, the exact clause number, and a button. Request Policy Citation. Tap it, and a template email drafts to station with flight, seat, and timestamp pre-filled. We built a handle for customers too, IT says. The CEO nods. Handles beat speeches. Compliance flags one outlier from a mountain station. A supervisor said weight distribution, but attached the actual load sheet revision and the captain's request. Proper, lawful, logged. The video plays 5 seconds. No drama, just a reader light turning green after the doc attaches. The room smiles the way people smile when a muscle finally learns. Union rep reports of code language dropped. Agents are using finish that sentence as a real-time break. Elena on a tile from a crew room holds up a laminated card. Preferred? Policy? Ask policy number? Doc? Who signs? 10 minutes of practice turned into a reflex. At 10 a.m., the CEO walks the JFK lounge unannounced. The decal lives by the desk printer. Scan for seat policy. A guest scans, skims, nods. No one points a camera at him, no one needs to. He watches a concierge stop herself mid-sentence. We prefer to put then corrects cleanly per policy. Chider sen, is bin and den. We can't move that seat after boarding without a documented safety reason. He doesn't intervene, he doesn't smile, he just notes the timestamp and leaves. Back at the conference room, HR presents the aftercare ledger. Terminations entered with 7.3 citations, EAP outreach documented, exit interviews archived. Conduct, not optics, HR says, tapping the line the CEO wrote in week 1. The file is clean, no adjectives, no rumors. Service Quality Institute dials in. Module completion rates show little spikes every shift change. The facilitator adds a small victory. When we demo the denial beep, everyone in the room starts looking for a place to write it down. They want to record the sound. Evidence has a tone now. Noon, Melissa proposes a 30-day public audit for JFK once the last criterion clicks. A single PDF metrics, patches, training completion, no names. Publish the rails, not the wreck, she says. Do it, the CEO answers. Put the criteria on page 1. He adds a line to the masthead. We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans. Ops raises a hand. Discretionary upgrades keep frozen until the full 30? Keep them frozen, he says. When you reward integrity, money finds its place. Afternoon. A pilot from another base asks whether the intercom buffer retention 12 months can extend network-wide, not just audit stations. Legal nods. No privacy conflict. Signage already covers notice. IT switches the checkbox. Retention, network active. The change is small on screen, enormous in practice. Memory grows. He ends the day with 2 messages. Subject, network, unfreeze criteria, publishable. 0 unauthorized reassignments, trainta days, 2 surprise audits passed, 100% training completion. Captain sign-offs on load sheet literacy. Public audit PDF posted, then unfreeze. Subject, field note. Lounge and gate teams are catching euphemism in real time. Keep the micro drill, add clip the moment a sentence stops halfway. Evening. Departures blur into taillights. A child at security asks his parents what a QR code does. It tells you the rule, the parent says. That's the best press he'll get all year. He doesn't quote it. He doesn't need to. On the ride out, the city folds into its own lights. He types 1 sentence for tomorrow's agenda and leaves it at that. If it's not logged, it didn't happen. Then he pockets the phone. Quiet is the victory condition. Day plus 30 11:58 a.m., JFK conference room. No balloons, no step and repeat. A single screen reads Case 1A, 30-day public audit. 4 boxes glow green in the header, 0 unauthorized reassignments, 2 surprise audits passed, 100% training completion, captain load sheet sign-offs filed. At noon, Melissa taps publish. A 1-page PDF goes live. Metrics, screenshots of the denial prompt, 7.3 highlighted, retention windows noted. No names. Rails, not Rex. Comms asks, statement? He gives 12 words. We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans. PDF attached. That's the whole press plan. Finance is next. The CFO clears his throat, hopeful. Unfreeze discretionary upgrades? Unfreeze on paper, the CEO says, but reallocate 40% to training and audits for Q3. Incentives don't outrank integrity. The room writes the math before it writes the memo. IT rolls out the bigger hinge. Policy lock V2. 0 network. No post-boarding seat changes without dual authorization, Captain Plus station. System enforces reason code plus document attachment plus dual e-signature. Attempt without all 3? Hard deny plus auto-notify compliance. A small checkbox flips on the screen. Cabin printer. Seat manifest. Final auto prints at door close. Memory now literally on paper. Union rep thumbs the PDF. Nods once. Clean file. Conduct cited. Due process documented. He turns to the floor. Finish that sentence in recurrent. Code language still sneaks. Make it muscle, the CEO answers. 10 minutes every quarter. Downstairs, gate 22A offers a live test. A supervisor murmurs weight distribution, then catches herself. Captain request on file. The agent checks. No load sheet revision. The override button is stone gray. She smiles without victory. Preferences aren't policy, she tells the traveler, and taps log attempt. No doc. A tone chirps. The ledger eats the incident before it grows teeth. 12:40 p.m. The PDF starts to travel. QR scans jump at 3 hubs. Dwell time holds. A blogger tries to angle for a headline, finds only charts and screenshots. The post reads like a manual because that's what it is. Quiet is working. 1:15 p.m. Elena steps onto a flight as acting purser a quiet, a P in the roster column. She runs the pre-flight like a checklist. Equipment, manifest, crew brief. Mid-boarding, an agent whispers, "We've got a regular who prefers 1D. Elena tilts her head. Policy number? The agent grins as trained. Right. None after boarding. The denial beep from training plays in both their heads. The seat stays. 2 p.m. Internal legal joins a board subcommittee call. Slides show the slope of compliance. Overrides down, attachments up, NPS steady. Complaints about weight distribution without doc? 0. The ethics auditor recommends one more bolt. Audit of audits quarterly random pulls of 50-seat events with public summaries scrubbed of names. We're done when the review can survive sunlight, she says. Approved, he replies. Publish the schedule. No surprises. 3:05 p.m. lounge desk. A concierge catches a sentence at the halfway mark. We prefer to put stops, taps the app, and reads verbatim from Seats and Standards. The guest nods and takes 3C the way a person takes a law, begrudging at first, then grateful when the plane leaves on time. Ops pushes a small but telling patch. Customer app? Request policy citation now includes a screenshot field. If a crew member quotes a rule, the passenger can request the clause by tapping one icon. The CEO glances at the changelog and writes the only note that matters. Handles beat speeches. 4:10 p.m. HR closes the books on Case 1A. Final entries, lead terminated per 7.3, purser terminated, EAP contact recorded, no retaliatory notes in attendant evaluations, Elena commendation filed, purser in training start date, confirmed. The file reads like what the channel became proof instead of posture. A quick press ping lands anyway. Do you regret firing an entire shift? He answers with architecture, not anger. We removed people who misused policy and recertified a base. We changed software, training, and budgets. We didn't stage a scene, we built a standard. He attaches the PDF again. No adjectives, just links. Evening light at the window line. He watches 2 scanners blink green, a family scan the QR, and a captain signs the seat manifest final at the door like it's always been there. Melissa steps up beside him with a last envelope. Inside, a small card with 4 boxes checked, and a note in Elena's tight print micro drill caught 2 euphemisms today. Stop them with the comma. He smiles with his eyes once. That's the work, he says. On the ride out, he writes tomorrow's line item. Extend policy lock to irregular ops. No preferred displacements during rolling delays without dual auth plus doc. He adds a second line for the wall that facilities keep stenciling station by station. Comfort without standards is chaos. The city takes him back the way it gave him, up fast, then slow. He pockets the phone and leaves 1 sentence on his screen for anyone who ever asks how this started or why it held. If it isn't logged, it didn't happen. Then the screen goes dark, exactly the way good systems do when they're done speaking. Day plus 37. Summer storms stack over ATL like a schedule of bad ideas. Ground stop, rolling delays, tempers soft boiling. If preferences ever sneak back in, it'll be today. Gate Beziehung 12, flight to DCA. The board reads, delayed weather. Elena wears a P next to her name now, acting purser. She's not dramatic, she's precise. The agent's portal shows policy lock v2.0, reason code plus doc plus dual e-signature, or the override is stone gray. Above the reader, the decal scan for seat policy. A supervisor leans toward the agent, voice pitched for shortcuts. We've got a deadheading crew who prefer 1A, 1D, so they can rest before the turn. If the agent answers like a break. Finish that sentence? He swallows and tries the old magic words. Weight distribution. Captain, request on file, she asks, already pulling the load sheet. No revision number, no ACARS message, the button stays gray. Elena steps in gently. If it's safe, you'll have a revision code and the captain's sign-off. If it's preference, log the attempt and seat them per policy. 2 taps. Log attempt, no doc. The system pings compliance and moves on. Storms don't bend rules. They test whether rules are real. Across the concourse, the CEO stands by a window with a paper cup of coffee and a view of taxiway lights reflecting off puddles. He's not here to be seen. He's here to watch the hinge points. Melissa texts from JFK, audit of audits schedule posted quarterly, 50-seat events, public summaries. He replies with 2 words that function like a rubber stamp. Publish it. Back at B12, a legitimate call lands. Captain to agent over interphone. Wait and balance forward CG trend. Need 2 from row 1 to 3 or 4. Dispatch will push a revised load sheet. The portal blinks. Load sheet rev number A147 arrives with a captain, e-signature, and station cosign. The button turns blue. Elena faces row 1, tone steady. We have a documented safety adjustment revision, A147. We'll reseat 2 to row 3, C, 3D. Drinks, and thanks to me. No apology theater, no euphemism, just the paper and the reason. 2 passengers moved without a grudge because evidence traveled with the mask. A frequent flyer at the podium tries a different lever. I know the regional manager. The agent smiles like a guardrail. We know the policy. If you need the clause, it's on the QR. She taps Request Policy Citation in the customer app and a template email fills in. Flight, seat, timestamp. The flyer reads the 1-pager and puts his phone away. Chastened by facts, not faces. IT posts a network-wide green check, intercom buffer retention, active 12 months. Legal adds a note to the changelog, signage confirmed, no privacy conflict. The memory of lousy moments is now longer than the excuse. The storms pound, but departures begin to thread the gap. A blogger tweets something snarky about airline rule worship, then opens the public audit PDF, finds charts, not villains, and quotes a line he didn't expect to like. We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans. The tweet does numbers anyway, because receipts do. In the crew room, Elena runs the micro drill for a storm-tired team. 10 minutes, 3 prompts, 1 skill catch euphemism at the comma. Prompt, we prefer to put crew policy number. Prompt, security might. Crew, is it written? Who signs? Prompt for comfort. Crew, reason code, document attached. The denial beep from training plays in their heads like a metronome. That sound is culture now. Ops pings the CEO. IROP exception path confirmed, medical and safety receipts only. Dual auth enforced. Doc mandatory. Auto notify compliance. Customer app shows why when it's lawful. He replies, good. Handles beat speeches. No victory lap. Just a sentence that keeps choosing rails. Late afternoon, the storms move east. B12 boards under a ceiling of tired patients. A dad scans the QR with his kid, quietly explains the difference between want and allowed. A concierge in the lounge stops herself mid-sentence, reads 7.3 aloud, and the guest nods, because weather is a reason and preference isn't. As the DCA flight pushes, Elena takes one last pass through row 1. A traveler mouths, "Thank you for the clarity, not the drink." She points to the manifest the captain signed at door close, seat manifest, final auto-printed by the new patch, and says exactly 4 words that have begun to replace apologies in this network. Standards took the wheel. And this. Up at the window, the CEO watches the tug angle the nose into a lane the storm's finally left open. His phone lights once. Audit of audits published. He pockets it. Days like this prove whether a policy was a poster or a spine. The airport smells like wet carpet and jet fuel and something else he recognizes. A rule that is held. He says it to the glass, soft, like a checklist item he intends to keep. Preferences aren't policy, log everything. Day plus 45. 9 a.m. Board subcommittee room. Frosted glass, a single agenda on the screen. Case 1, a closure and embed. No montage, just a ledger. First tile, unfreeze criteria, all green. 0 unauthorized reassignments. 30 sobre 30 days. 2 surprise audits passed. 100% training completion signed. Captain load sheet literacy. Melissa points to the last check. Final sign-off posted 6:58 a.m. The CFO exhales like numbers just landed. Finance unfreezes discretionary upgrades, then, per the prior directive, reallocates 40% to training, audits for Q3, integrity gets a budget line. Second tile, network patch status. Policy lock v2.0, active network-wide. Dual off, captain plus station, enforced, hard deny without reason code plus doc. Intercom buffer retention. 12 months. Auto print seat manifest, final at door close. IT marks one more checkbox. Customer app, seat policy card live. Tappy chi. 3, see the rule, press 1 button to request the citation by email. Handles beats speeches again. HR presents the aftercare ledger. Lead terminated per C3 EAP offered. Exit interview archived. Purser terminated, same record hygiene. No retaliatory notes on Elena's evals. Elena commendation on file. Purser in training complete. Promotion recommended. Recommend the CEO echoes. Make it HR. Clicks approve. Title changes on screen. Purser Elena. Applaud doesn't happen. Signatures do. Compliance flips to audit of audits. Q1 sample. 50 seat events pulled at random. Public summary scrubbed of names. 0 unauthorized moves. 3 lawful W and B receipts, each with load sheet revision ID and dual e-sig. Customers briefed with the clause visible. Complaints tagged weight distribution without doc, 0. The ethics auditor adds a sentence that belongs on a wall, not a poster. Sunlight survived. Comms lines up the external moves. Public audit PDF already live. Seats and standards one-pager mirrored in the app at gate readers and lounges. A 90-second explainer, no music, shows how to ask for a policy number and how the system logs. No hero shots, just receipts. Service Quality Institute joins. Microcourse completion sits at 98% network-wide. Finish that sentence drill is now reflex. They propose a 5th microcoded language. Plain policy, 5 scenarios, 10 minutes. The CEO nods. Adopted quarterly. One tang. He turns to operations. Extend the no preference guardrail to irregular ops by policy, not just practice. Ops shows the addendum. IROP exception path. Medical and safety only. Dual auth, doc mandatory. Auto notify compliance. Customer app shows lawful, why'd it's already live. Good. Melissa brief cards, the public metrics tile for month 2. Post-boarding override attempts, 0. Overrides with documentation, 100% by design. NPS first class JFK plus 11 from baseline. Policy citation requested. Tap steady and polite. Dwell time on the one-pager remains high. The CEO adds 1 line to the PDF masthead for next month. We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans. Comms notes it. It's the only sentence that keeps showing up because it keeps being true. Downstairs, A small ceremony with a smaller audience? Facilities brings in a clean plaque-no gold trim. Comfort without standards is chaos in block letters, mounted beside the gate printer that spits seat manifest final. The camera from internal comms takes a single still, timestamp only. Elena stands at the podium for a 5-line briefing to crew her first as purser. Seat policy is visible, not vibe. Preferences aren't policy. If you hear euphemism, ask for the clause. If it isn't logged, it didn't happen. You can always call me. She doesn't thank the room. She equips it. The CEO watches from the side. No handshake photo. He steps close enough for only her to hear. You spoke on system when it counted. She nods once. We all did. The system listened. That's the point, he says. Make sure it keeps listening. Logged, she answers, like it's a promise. Afternoon. The public audit gets linked by a business columnist who wanted a villain and found a checklist. The headline reads like a manual, How a Policy, Not a Speech, Fixed an Airline Problem. Comments are boring. That's the win. Before he leaves, the CEO signs a short memo to extend the changes outside this terminal. Subject cross-domain standard, retail, lounge, code share. Thanks for watching. Apply policy lock to boutique and lounge seating. No preferred displacements after service begins without dock plus dual auth. Mirror QR policy cards at partner counters. Quarterly audit of audits spans code shares. He closes the day with 3 taps in the case file that started it. Case 1, A, status, closed. A footer populates automatically 3 words that turn a moment into a method. Terminate, freeze, log. He pockets the phone. The airport sounds like luggage wheels and gate chimes and something else. Standards working so quietly they're hard to hear. That's how you know they're real. Day plus 60. Morning light across Concourse B. No crisis music, no trending clip, just a gate printer chattering out seat manifest. Final, like it's always done that. The decal on the reader hasn't peeled. The QR holds steady. People scan, skim, move. Systems working are nearly silent. Elena walks past as purser. No acting tag, roster clean. She's mentoring a junior who keeps glancing at the portal. It's muscle, Elena says. Gentle. Reason code, document, dual sign. If you hear a sentence start with, we prefer, stop it at the comma, ask for the clause. The junior copies it down because it sounds like safety, not attitude. Upstairs, the CEO signs a short memo and closes a longer loop. Subject, cross-domain, embed hotel, retail, lounge, code share. Mirror policy lock V20 wherever a seat, line, or slot can be preferred. No displacement after service begins without dock plus dual auth. QR policy cards at counters, one-pager in apps. Quarterly audit of audits spans partners. Send, no flourish. Architecture travels. He takes the walkway to the lounge. At the desk, a concierge nearly says, we prefer to place. Catches herself, taps the app, and reads the clause aloud. A guest nods and accepts the seat that came with their ticket, not with someone's confidence. The ceiling doesn't cheer, it just holds. Down the escalator, Facilities mounts a small sign where the cameras first caught this story. Comfort without standards is chaos. The letters are not fancy, they're legible. He checks the screws with his eyes the way he checks a manifest. Does it attach? It does. Noon. A press email arrives, fishing for adjectives. He replies with a PDF. Case 1A, public audit, 30 days. 4 boxes, screenshots, clause citations. The line at the top that keeps earning its place. We measure respect by our logs, not our slogans. The reporter calls it dry. Good. Dry holds airplanes together. Afternoon, Service Quality Institute pings. Module 5, coded language, plain policy is live. 10 minutes, 5 scenes. The last card says what Elena has been teaching by example. If it isn't logged, it didn't happen. Network adoption ticks upward without a meeting. At 4:10 p.m., he stands at the same window where he once watched a tug nudge an aircraft back into a lane. The weather finally allowed. A family scans the QR, and the parent says, "To a kid who likes to ask why, it tells you the rule." That line will outlast both of them. He walks the concourse. No one recognizes him because he's not the point. The point is the prompt that won't turn blue without a reason. The point is the denial beep crews can hear before it happens. The point is the paper that exists before someone tries to borrow power they don't own. On his way out, he finds Elena by gate 17. She's finishing a micro drill with a crew, 3 prompts, 3 breaks, a habit, You made it standard, he says. We all did, she answers. Ops, it, legal, and the cameras. The cameras didn't scare anyone, he says. They reminded us to remember. Guardier. She holds up the public audit on her phone like it's no big deal. You're keeping that PDF pinned? Pinned, he says, publish the next one monthly. Rails, not Rex. They don't shake hands. They exchange a single sentence that belongs more to the wall than to either of them. Preferences aren't policy. And everything. Outside, the city does what cities do: hurry. Stall, begin again. He drafts a final note to the board that reads like an aftercare checklist more than a speech. Subject, make it boring. Keep dual oath plus duck mandatory. Keep the QR where decisions happen. Keep audits public and names private. Keep training short, daily, and practical. Keep budgets tied to behavior, not charm. He adds one more line for anyone who will inherit this work and mistake it for theater. Standards win when they stop feeling like a story. Send, at the curb, a car. He doesn't look back. Systems either remember or they don't. Today they do, and tomorrow they're scheduled to. He says it once, to the driver, to the terminal, to the parts of the network that still think charisma is a control surface. Terminate, freeze, log. The door closes. The airport keeps breathing. And the seat at 1A stays where the manifest says it belongs, not because someone powerful wanted it, but because the policy, the proof, and the people agreed to make the truth visible before anyone had to demand it. Quiet is the victory condition. Now it's the plan.